Dear traveler, I have never understood why so many atmospheric books are set in the winter, why we think magic can only happen under the cloak of darkness and frost. I will not deny there is something wondrous in a frigid white winter, but how can anyone overlook how spellbinding the summer can be? The burst of green every year feels like magic to me. Every summer, my head is flooded with ideas for stories. Hiking around feels more like gathering little twigs of inspiration I can take home and plant than anything else. The story I'm writing right now took root during a long walk along the Appalachian Trail a year ago. This summer, I'm determined to finish it. I recently took a trip with just my dog and my partner. We both had projects to work on and wanted to get out of our city apartment, so we found a secluded place with no internet. The cabin hid itself in an unruly forest next to one of the oldest rivers in the United States. I remember arriving and thinking excitedly about how much writing I could get done there in the mornings before we set out to explore, and in the evenings when we returned. Every day, we woke up early and hiked through the surrounding woods, mountains, and rivers. And can I be honest with you? There were parts every day where I wanted to turn around. It was hot, we forgot our water. Our dog, who is very lovable, is sometimes heedless of the dangers of the trails, like rattlesnakes or plunging waterfalls. Parts of the hikes are always spent walking past an endless parade of trees and bushes that belie the breathtaking views at the top. Not that those views are a surety. I've set out for hikes before and gotten to the top to find only a formless gray or brushy scrubs just thick enough to blot out the view. To distract myself from the less enjoyable parts and the uncertainty of the end, I think about my story. I imagine my characters are somewhere in the vast wilderness around me, planning something, discovering something, fighting something. This imagining is soothing. It acts as an anesthetic to the soreness and heat. Midway through our longest hike of the trip, it stopped working. Thinking about my story was just as frustrating as the hike. I couldn't see where I was going next in either of them. It was like I'd hit the end of the path in the story and there was no breathtaking view, just gray. I had been stuck in this story before, but not like this. This was a persistent problem, one I had been trying to solve for months. On mile 6 of the hike, I considered giving the story up. After all, I had been thinking about it for months and still could not figure it out. Maybe it needed to be put on the back burner, or maybe I needed to turn around and start over, tell a different story in the same world. And then I had an epiphany. You see, I had just entered the worst part of the hike, the part where my brain starts chanting, "You could just stop and turn around. It was okay while it lasted, but this isn't worth finishing. You're tired, you're sore. You've seen enough beauty, find something else." It was precisely that moment, the worst part of my hike, I had the epiphany. More precisely, it was the moment when I ignored the voice telling me to turn around and kept going. Because it's always a little while after I hear that voice that I reach the top. And most of the time, I'm grateful to be there. Sure enough, we reached the top of the hill 20 minutes later. The view wasn't what I expected, but I still felt so happy to have done it. After eating lunch with my partner and giving a well-earned bone to the dog, I started the trek back. On the walk down, I appreciated even more the lush greenery and exuberant cascades of water I had passed earlier. I noticed all of the details and magic I had missed when I was too busy trudging ever upward. A part of me knew that was why I needed to finish, to know I was capable of it, to appreciate what I'd missed when I was preoccupied. I have been on lots of hikes, so I can brace myself for feelings of doubt and exhaustion. It is harder with novels. I go off trail more often, and I have written only 2, so it is harder for me to discredit the pessimistic voice in my head. The voice that tells me that the magical summer story I imagined is not possible, that I should abandon it for something more tried and true, that my problems are insurmountable. My epiphany acts as a reminder now that the voice is temporary. I have felt it before, and I have the strength to get past it. When I get stuck in my story, I try to think about how many sights I would have missed out on had I listened to the defeatist thoughts ricocheting through my mind during my hikes. Then I remind myself how many great memories I have of hikes that were unremarkable, that did not lead to some glorious end. I still learned from them. I still loved them. I still felt happy that I had finished them. If you're in the middle of a project and the end seems far away, I hope you know that the voice in your head telling you to quit, it is temporary. The voice in your head that says your story is too different, it's wrong. If everyone else is writing about ice as smooth as glass and the riotous changing of leaves, it does not make the green of your story any less luxuriant or the blooms less extraordinary. Is that metaphor a little overwrought? Probably. But if there's anything you take away from this video, I hope it is this. I believe in you and your story. Each step you're taking will bring you closer to the finish. And when you reach the top, you will have learned so much more for it. Even if in the end it isn't perfect, it'll still be magical because it exists. So I wish all of you that are working on something artistic good luck, or just any hobby or anything that you love and that you're putting your heart into. I really wish you the best of luck. And like I said, I do believe in you. So if you ever want to talk to me about your projects, please feel free to do so in the comments, or you can just message me on Twitter. I try to be responsive, and I hope that if you share your heart with me, I'll be there for you to support you through this. Right. So I think that's all I have to say about that. I hope you all have a lovely day, and until next time, keep traveling. Bye.